There was a time when the earth still held secrets, and the deepest of those secrets wore a shape based. Short pause, not a whale as you know it, but a serpent of the sea. 50 feet of muscle and tooth, a jaw made for ending lives. When it moveth, the ocean itself trembles. Its arrival is not silent, it is destiny. Today, a small band of Homo habilis stand at the shore. Hands empty, hearts heavy. Moments ago they laughed. In the next, they will face the edge, between survival and oblivion. From the depths, a dark shadow rises. The sea explodes, teeth flash, and a sound, a primal cry that reaches the sky. This is not a tale of fear. It is a tale of defiance. Witness the instant when humans dared to challenge the king of the deep, and the sea answered back. Beat one south lower. Almost a breath. Be ready. Beneath the blazing African sun, time itself seemed to hold its breath. Life was changing rapidly on land, but this day marked a new chapter. A group of Homo habilis, early humans, had reached the coastline for the first time. Behind them lay the hunger of the savannah. Before them, an endless blue mystery. The ocean. These early humans were not yet masters of the hunt or fire, but curiosity was in their nature. As they approached the shoreline, they stared in awe. The waves touched their feet, as if the earth itself whispered of a greater world beyond the land. But beneath those calm waves lay another realm, silent, dark, and deadly. The realm of Basilosaurus. It was no ordinary whale, a serpent-shaped titan of the ancient seas, stretching over 50 feet long, with jaws built to crush bone and rip through flesh. Basilosaurus didn't wait for prey. It ambushed. As a young Homo habilis leaned toward the shallows, attempting to catch fish with primitive hands, a shadow moved beneath the surface. First, a ripple, then a wave, and suddenly from the depths, the monstrous shape of Basilosaurus surged upward. The ocean exploded into chaos. A flash of teeth, foam, and terror. The group screamed, stumbling back onto the sand, hearts pounding as the massive predator slipped beneath the waves once more. The sea fell silent again, as if nothing had happened. But in the minds of these early humans, something had changed forever. Fear. Fear. For the first time, humankind realized that the world beyond the land held dangers. Beyond imagination, predators unseen, waiting in the deep. Night had fallen. The sea stretched into darkness, vast and endless. By the dim glow of flickering flames, a small group of Homo habilis huddled together. These were the same early humans who had fled from the terror of the ocean that very day. Now, they sat in silence, fear in their hearts, but curiosity in their eyes. The waves whispered like the breath of an ancient monster. Each crash against the shore sent shivers down their spines. And yet, no one left. Because in humanity, curiosity has always been stronger than fear. An elder among them, perhaps their leader, crouched and drew lines in the sand. He traced the long, snake-like shape of the Basilosaurus, his finger carving curves that represented danger. Then, he raised his hand and gestured. This is the enemy, but if we see it before it strikes, we might live. That was the birth of observation, the dawn of awareness that every ripple, every fleeing fish, every cry of a seabird could be a warning. By sunrise, they returned to the shore. But this time, they were no longer helpless. They began to gather long sticks, sharpening the ends with sharp stones. For the first time, fear had evolved into strategy. Out in the water, a dark silhouette moved once more. The same predator that had terrorized them now approached. But the humans didn't run. They watched. They waited. This was the moment humanity took its first step toward mastery, when fear ceased to be an enemy and became a teacher. At dawn, the ocean appeared calm. Deceptively calm, because beneath the glimmering surface, a predator was waiting. The Basilosaurus, massive and coiled like a serpent, glided through the deep. Its cold eyes held memory and anger. It remembered those fragile beings that dared to escape it yesterday. Now, it sought not just food, but vengeance. On the shore, Homo habilis stood ready, spears in hand, fire in their eyes. They knew this day would decide everything: life or death, dominance or extinction. The silence broke with a thunderous splash. The sea exploded upward as the Basilosaurus struck. Waves roared, sand flew, and the humans staggered back. A young male shouted, "It's here." Then came the sound, a monstrous bellow that shook the earth. The predator surged forward, jaws wide, teeth glinting in the light. It seized one of them in a crushing bite. But this time, humanity did not run. 3 others lunged together, spears slicing through the spray. One spear found its mark, lodging just beside the creature's eye. A roar of pain ripped through the air. For the first time, the ocean's ancient king recoiled. That was the moment when fear turned into defiance, when early humans stopped being prey. Blood clouded the water, red beneath the morning sun, and as the Basilosaurus disappeared into the deep, the survivors stood trembling but victorious. They looked up to the sky, and in that moment, they knew mankind's rise had begun. Night blanketed the coast in a heavy silence, but beneath that silence, something stirred. A wounded monster, filled with rage. Deep below, the Basilosaurus drifted through black waters. A spear wound burned near its eye, and with every pulse of pain, its fury grew stronger. On the shore, the Homo habilis tribe worked through the night. They knew it would return, and they would be ready. Using vines and heavy logs, they built a trap near the shallows. Each knot was tied with purpose, each stone placed with hope. This was not just survival, this was the birth of strategy. As dawn crept over the horizon, the ocean trembled. A deep rumble echoed from below, and then the beast emerged. The Basilosaurus broke the surface in a surge of power. Scars glinting under the rising sun. It roared, its voice like thunder, and charged toward the shore. The humans stood their ground. When the signal came, they pulled. The trap snapped tight. Massive logs slammed shut around the creature's body. The ocean exploded in fury. Waves crashed, sand flew, but the net held firm. Spears flew like lightning, striking again and again. Every hit echoed the defiance of a new species, refusing to bow before fear. And then, silence. The Basilosaurus stopped moving. Its colossal body lay still. For the first time, humans had conquered a giant. This was not the victory of muscle, but of mind. As the sun rose over the crimson tide, their shadows stretched long across the sand, and in that light, the dawn of human ingenuity had truly begun. Morning broke over the silent shore. The scent of salt and victory hung in the air. The sands still bore the marks of the great battle, but the waves had begun to wash them away, as if the ocean itself had accepted defeat. The Homo habilis tribe stood in quiet awe. Where fear once ruled, pride now lived. The Basilosaurus, once the terror of the deep, lay lifeless, its massive shadow fading beneath the rising sun. But nature does not end with death, it transforms. As the waves touched the beast's remains, the ocean whispered its timeless challenge: only the wise shall endure. Their leader sat by the fire, shaping driftwood into tools. He looked up at the horizon and said, "We have conquered the sea's beast. Now we must learn to conquer the sea itself." That single thought changed everything. The age of discovery had begun. By sunset, the tribe gathered the creature's bones, fashioning tools, weapons, and ropes. They turned tragedy into technology, instinct into invention. Their raft, once a symbol of fear, became a vessel of exploration. As they pushed it into the shimmering tide, the waves embraced them like destiny itself. The sea that once threatened them now called them forward. For the first time, humanity looked beyond survival, toward understanding, creation, and dominion. The death of Basilosaurus was not the end of an era. It was the birth of mankind's courage. The sun spills its gold across the shore. Pause 0, 6 south, and the air carries the scent of blood. Sand and a courage newly forged. Short pause today, we watch the small tribe understand, confront, and finally stand against the terror of the deep. Pause 0.5 segundo. Yet this victory is more than a moment. It is a lesson. Short pause from bones. They fashioned tools. From driftwood, they made craft. Fire, weapons, and collective will laid the stones of a new age. Pause 0.6 segundo. In the next episode, we push beyond the shoreline into frozen seas where other titans wait, and human curiosity will be tested anew. Longer pause 0.8 south. If you want to continue this journey, subscribe and ring the bell. Join us as we uncover the chapters that made us human. Pause 0.6 segundo. Remember, fear does not shrink us. It teaches us to rise. Soft final pause farewell. Until the next stow.